pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away what you thinking about. All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the clouds. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain of life. Just listen to my story. You lost your best friend, shit's got you stressing. Wanna find a fool who did it, cock back your weapon. Don't wanna look to the church for confessions. If you kill them, you can end up in corrections. Some look for the needles and drugs for injection. When I lost Caesar, I was ready for the action. This shit hurts hard, and it really did. But you gotta let the pain go, and that's how you live. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away what you thinking about. All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the clouds. Feel the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain of life. Just listen to my stories. Falling in love may be easy to some of y'all, but some people in this world have downfalls. Been in love so many times, their heart got lockjaw. Mention the word love, pause, then the tears start to crawl down their face fast like Niagara Falls. Feeling you had them messed up like prank calls. Why it gotta be so damn hard trying to find the right one? Set your standards high and get this like an AM. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away what you thinking about. All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the clouds. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain of life. Just listen to my stories. Phone bill is due, rent and cars too. By the end of the month and you got no food. Mom at home first and dad can't go to work. That's only if you had a dad, imagine that hurt. 4 kids in one house, one mom and no spouse. Not enough room and family sleep on the couch. You don't know why and you looking for an answer. Just found out grandpa got cancer. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away what you thinking about. All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the clouds. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pains of life. Just listen to my stories. Just listen to my stories. Just listen to my story. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away what you thinking about. All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the clouds. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain in life. Just listen to my stories. Just listen to my story.
Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing?
Hello.
Hey, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, Queen. How are you doing? How is everybody out there doing today? Welcome back to Black Conscious Convo presents Loving in Color in Colorado. I am one half of this brilliant team. My co-host, Queen, aka Miss Talisa Hawkins. How are you doing today? Hello? Where did she go? Well, when she gets back, we will definitely let her know. Um Today we are finishing our conversation part 2 of Black mothers and love. That is the whole
Hear me
topic
now?
of the show. Uh,
Can you all hear me now?
Queen is back. Hey, Queen, there
Okay.
you go.
Hey, sorry, I don't know what happened. Guess the signal just got a little shoddy.
Not a problem. Look, how you doing today?
Doing good. I just set my own car alarm off. Sorry, y'all. I'm doing good today. I was working hard. Got a lot of research and stuff done. I'm so excited to be on the phone with you. I got a lot to talk about today.
Oh my gosh, I totally understand. Like I said, I was just telling our listeners that we are doing part two of mothers, black mothers, and love, and some of the things that we have come up with when it comes to solutions to things that we can do for our community to be better as parents.
Which, as you know, is part of the reason that things are the way they are in our community. Sorry, y'all. Somebody tried breaking into my car, and so now the door just beeps, and I'm sitting in my car. But as you
Wow.
know, like a lot of the problems in our community start with the family, start with the home. Really, the home is the foundation to your being, and it's the beginning of where you learn self care, self love, love of your spouse, love of your sister, love of a friend, love of your community. All that starts at home with your relationship with your parents. It's so integral.
It does. And that's one of the things that I believe that, like I said, for me myself, I know what it's like, one, to be hurt by a mother's lie, and at the same time I also comprehend being grown enough and responsible enough to forgive those that didn't have the tools that are around today's times to help make things better for those that don't have that type of influence.
Yeah, so today in this part two
Well, you
conversation,
were there.
oh, am I back?
You're back now. You
Okay,
keep cutting out on us.
sorry, y'all. Hopefully this works a little better. But with today's conversation and us wrapping up the second part of moms, I feel like last episode we spent a lot of time talking about moms and their sons and the impact that has on our communities. But now I want to talk about moms and their daughters and the impact that has on the community. So I
Okay.
want to ask you, what is your mother and your grandmother's relationship like? Is there one present? Are they very close?
My mom and her mother and all of their sisters, except for one, were close with their mother. They they had a relationship that they have a relationship that us as cousins do not have, you know?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to gasp, but I just looked in the console of my car and I have half a blunt there for some reason. So happy about
Oh,
that.
that was gonna be my next question. But yeah, no, my family, my mother and all her sisters except for one, all got along with their mother great. Um, one just wanted to be a little rebellious. There's always one in the crowd, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Always the black sheep of the family.
I mean, it's not even that there's a black sheep. It's just in general, we have so many children that sometimes people get caught up in paying attention to the ones that are like seeking attention.
hmm So then, and then that brings me to my other question of, since she has so many, what's her relationships like with her sisters? Like, what's their
Oh yeah,
relationship like?
like I said, they have a relationship that we as cousins don't have. You know what I mean? Like when even when it comes to like communicating on Facebook, they all communicate with each other on either Facebook or text each other. You know what I mean? Like they text each other
Right.
on a constant basis and talk to each other on a constant basis. And that's something that we was raised up seeing and noticing and watching, but yet as a family we can't do. Isn't that crazy? And this is just
It
on my
is crazy.
mom's side now. I'm not
Yeah.
talking about my dad's side. I'm saying on my mom's side.
Yeah. I always ask that question because, you know, I noticed that the relationships that you're, like I said, the relationships you have with your parents and your family really mimic the relationships that you have in general. And so for me, for instance, my mom and my sis and my aunties, they did not get along growing up. My mom was the youngest of three girls, and she was the one who had a different daddy. And so she got a lot of, you're not really our sister, you're ugly, because my mom has a different daddy. Of course, she looks different from my aunties. Now, none of my aunties look alike. They all are different shades, different colors, and have different facial features.
That's
You
what
wouldn't
made me
necessarily know that they're even sisters, but somehow the two that had the same father were still able to link up and then bully my mom who didn't. And so, because of that, she spent a lot of her, adult years and teenage years looking for female friends, seeking a lot of female validation. And a lot of times, some of these women who were her friends were not really her friends. They were
yeah.
really jealous of her or envious of her and sabotaged a lot of things that she had going for herself or ruined a lot of the opportunities that she lined up. And my mom and me are older now, so we're working on our friendship. And I said to my mom, I said, look at how the relationship you had with my aunties showed up in all the friendships you have with women.
Yeah,
You seem to can't escape my aunties' personalities because they keep showing up in the girls you choose to be friends with.
and that's once again, that is something that we as people do to ourselves. It's a form of torture. That's something um I don't know why we choose to torture ourselves in that manner, but
It just becomes the water you swim in. When, like, it's like abuse when you grow up seeing abuse in a relationship, your mom and dad fighting and being physical. You think that that's normal, or you think that that's the way it is, even though it hurts you. Even though you don't like being abused, it hurts you. But because that's the dysfunction you've grown up with, it's kind of becomes normal to you, and you don't know how to escape it until you heal from that trauma and you say, you know what? That isn't normal. That's not okay.
and see, for me, I've always been the opposite. Like when I've when like I was just naturally bad when, like, if you told me don't do something, I did it. You know what I mean? And that was just to make you mad. You know what I mean? Like as an adult, I was trying to piss off the adult. You told me not to do something? Okay. You're
Gotta
asking
do it
me
anyway.
you're asking me to be bad. I broke everything. Like I my mom took me to the hospital for ER like left and right. Like there wasn't I can't think of the things that I haven't broken or dislocated. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Um
I've never broken a single bone.
yeah,
I think I almost did last weekend, and that was with a fight with my sister.
oh my gosh.
I
That
was like, my
right
gosh, I
there.
almost broke my foot, and it wasn't even on like some exotic island or, climbing on some sexy man's back. I broke my foot fighting with my sister. Jeez.
Oh my
My boy.
gosh. And that's just like I said, I can't believe that you and your sister was doing such things. Like I mean,
Especially
like
me.
for
You see
guys,
me. You know
brothers
me.
fight.
I sit
Like
in divine femininity. So it's rare that I have to tap into my masculine energy and like fight. So that was, man, my whole body ached. I was like, oh my gosh, I
I
use
can't.
muscles I ain't used in years.
Right. And but see, and that's the thing though, like guys fight, like that is our thing. Like we just love the challenge of something when it comes to
Hmm.
like physicality of things. And then there are those that once again, they don't. Like, okay, cool. But at the same time though, you know what I mean? It's so it's so like in general, right now, I'm gonna just not changing the subject. However, as I'm thinking about changing my hashtag to the hood's most honest black gay man because I'm not feeling a lot of this dishonesty going on right now. You know what I mean? As we're talking about dishonesty in mothers.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not feeling any of this dishonesty right now that we are doing in the black gay community as when it comes to individuals complaining about stuff that make no sense. Um you got guys going around, okay, let's not even talk about what guys are doing. I'm just going to talk about my situation.
Go ahead.
Guy gonna tell me he wants some boy pussy. I
Oh,
said, what the fuck is you talking about? He said, I want some boy pussy. I said, first off, there ain't no boy over here. Second off, there ain't no pussy over here for the simple fact of a womb is an unhealable cut or an abrasion in the body for medical history if anybody needs that information. However, to ask me in such a way like that's supposed to be natural, like somebody's supposed to go, oh, yeah, sure. No. And I think this is what's going on with people is there are people afraid to be honest about being gay and being black gay at that. Like people jumping over the on the baby about his comments at Rolling Loud. Okay, the baby has his comments because the baby's from the hood. He didn't say anything about killing anybody. He didn't say
don't make
anything
it get
about
no.
I'm not taking away from what he said. I'm just saying in general, the people that are complaining are not us. And for me,
I can't say that because I follow a gay black man on YouTube. He's one of the YouTubers that I love to watch. King of Reeds. Come on, Justin, King of Reeds. Love him.
I don't
And
know him.
he is a gay black man living with HIV. So for him, he was very hurt and he was very upset. And he was at Rolling Wild that weekend.
Okay.
He didn't go to see the baby, of course, because anybody like me, I ain't never fucked with the baby. For me, the black men like that, I stay far away from because they have not mastered self-discipline in such a way that they are in an environment where femininity can exist. They are someone where you have to be mindful of what you say, what you do, because you could find yourself being threatened or them, if it's an argument, they walking up on you, arms, out, chest out, ready to hurt you. This is a man
When
who's
you
already been
outs
seen for hitting women.
when
So,
ladies outsmart males, yes, that is a form of male weakness. I will testify to that. At
and
the
he
same
exudes that.
time,
So for
but
me,
at the same
I
time,
haven't
talking
listened to
about
his music at all. But
but
for somebody else,
speaking about the guy with AIDS, right? Is he feminine acting or is he
no,
just
he's he is, I would say, a hodgepodge because he would not consider himself to be an effeminate gay man. because he presents more masculine. Just because, for one, he's dark skinned, he has a full beard, he has dreads, he's, tall. He was in the military for some time, so he's very much so masculine presenting. But he still kicks it with the girls, as he would say. He still, is very close to some. When I first started watching him, I started listening to him on a podcast. It was him and Adrian Expression, and Adrian is a gay black man. He is not HIV positive, as far as we know, but he is a gay black man, but he's very effeminate. So they were on a podcast together, and it was kind of like, you had the effeminate one and the more masculine one, and they were both giving their perspective on the community and conversation and culture and stuff like that. So he came out, a couple of years ago and explained how he got it and how he was in a relationship, and, people aren't always up to date on their status, and people don't take care of themselves the way they're supposed to, especially in our community, which is also
And that's
something
what
you
I'm
learn from
saying.
your
And
mama.
that is what I am saying when it comes to our community in the hood. Okay. And once again, I'm speaking of from like where I have been gay and know these situations. I went to college in Atlanta. That's where I've had my first experience. I lived in Sacramento, and I lived in Sacramento for a year, I lived in the Bay for a year, and then I lived in LA for a year. Now
Is
these
that
are just
Ohio? Sacramento?
Sacramento, California.
Oh, see? Put them states, baby, because I do not know all the cities.
Oh, well,
So I wanted to check.
Sacramento, California is where the Black Panthers went to the capital of California and stood on their steps with their guns.
What? So you mean to tell me that Sacramento is the capital and not LA? Oh man, when they do those, can you name all the capitals? I will fail that
Oh
one.
wow, yes. Look, that is
I can
that is
name all the states in alphabetical order though.
oh no, I can't do that. However, yeah, a majority of the capitals I know, like it doesn't matter, capital or city, and then even like coming to like town wise, I'll ask you like, is that like when some people say Montbello, I say, are you talking about Montebello, California, or Montbello, Colorado?
Mm-hmm. Because there's more than one. Shoot.
hmm But like I said, though, for me in general, m- I've I don't hang around the girls because as a gay guy, I don't have anything in common with girls. Yeah, we like guys, but at the same time, I don't anticipate guys to be all open about being a loved human being, which I think is completely is not stereotyping or categorizing. An openly honestly loving human being is what we should be as people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that we can always feel connected with people. At the same time, there's levels of connection that should not be made, correct, like we were talking about earlier.
Um, Remind me. I'm sorry.
um Sometimes ladies have sex with guys that they should not have
Oh yeah,
sex
yeah,
with.
yeah, yeah. That not everybody, is going to get has the right to mate. Like not everybody deserves the right to mate. Some men are like literally walking around the world like because they were born with the penis. That means that they have the divine right to have sex. And like, no, it don't, because it takes two people to do it. People get the right to say no.
And that's
So
true, especially like mothers and when it comes to mothers and their love. I know we jump from talking about your friend and or the guy that you listen to, gay guy podcast, but you know what I mean, which is all
yeah,
brought us back to You know what I
Because
mean?
it's all one and the same. Because he is very vocal about his strained relationship with his mother, and how they've had to repair and rebuild, and a lot of that loss of love, that loss of relationship, led him to be in less than favorable situations with less than favorable mates. That's what happens when you don't have the foundation of love at home, when your
But
parents are not there to help you, guide
but
you through
that's
this world. It leads you to being in bad situations because you're out here chasing that love you never got at home.
and see, that's what I'm saying. Like for me, it's not that I was chasing love that I didn't have at home. I was chasing I was chasing an experience that I had had that I felt I needed to understand because no one else around me could help me understand it, right? That's what me starting my whole little knowing that, oh yeah, there did you
Well,
know
what was this
that feeling?
experience?
Do you know that there's feelings that you can have for a guy? I met a guy in college and we were my first, not even that it was just college, it was an art institute, and we were in music entertainment business management, right?
Hmm.
Um and we just everything about music, hip hop, R&B, because that was the generation.
Yeah,
Everything pop and R&B, we fucking just loved the shit out of it. Like could talk music all day and just, you know what I mean? We could
yeah.
go
So
around
you had an
the
experience of
studios.
true connection.
Right. Just we could go to the studios and work together and work with other artists and there was just so much going on, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And at the same time, we could separate because they had a job and I had a job, and we could separate and come back together and just be like, wow. Da, 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 da. So it was all of this new connecting with someone that I didn't know was possible on a level because all I knew was that I was angry and I was uh, and that I was a teenage high school father pretty much. So even like my son coming out there, you know what I mean? And me seeing him back and forth, it was like psh, I'm I'm learning about myself. Learning how to love what I'm able to create music wise and my abilities. And like I said, then individuals left, got kicked out of college, you know what I mean? And we didn't see each other
hmm,
no more. And for me, I'm like that one type of person guy. I'm that one type of person guy. Like I don't believe in sleeping around. I don't believe in testing everybody's waters. Like just because you got something doesn't mean you're worth something to me.
hmm.
You know what I mean?
But I want you to know that's like really uniquely you. It
Right.
is
That's what I'm
very much
saying.
so uniquely you, because even
Right.
if
And I
you don't want to test the waters, I just enjoy people. And so, in my natural way of being, I'm a natural flirt too. I naturally come across people who I'm just like, oh, I like you, and the only thing that holds me to my relationships is my word. But, I'm more, I enjoy having variety. I enjoy having a multitude of experiences and personalities. I enjoy new adventures, and every person is like a new opportunity for adventure.
And I
So,
totally understand that. I don't take that away from anybody. Like, live your truth. You know what I mean? That's the whole point of that. Live your truth, but don't live your imaginary truth. And that's
yeah.
that's the whole different story. Don't live psychosis with me. Don't live schizophrenia sociopath with me. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what I'm saying. The guy came to me and was like, "Yeah, he wants some of that boy pussy," and I'm like, "What the hell is boy pussy? Because I don't see no boy and I don't see no pussy. Like, nigga, what is you talking about?" And that's the way individuals that have been, and this is my thing. Once again, the level of understanding when people know what they want sexually in life, that is when people comprehend what they're doing and what they want to do sexually. Some people like you knew this at a very young age, but the majority don't know this at a very young age. The majority find this out after age 10. You know what I mean? Especially boys. Boys are so, we're so into just being rambunctious. Da, 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 da. It takes a lot for a boy to start liking a girl. Yeah, we have girlfriends and all that in school. That's just because people be saying, "Oh, is that your girlfriend? Is that your girlfriend?" And you go, "Oh, oh yeah." You know what I mean? But beyond that, like when folks was kids, like that shit wasn't shit. You know what I mean? I had plenty of them and was just like, "Oh, didn't even give 2 fucks."
Right.
Didn't even give 2 fucks until I got into college. Even my son was born, when they say out of wedlock, I comprehend what that means. That means out of not caring for the other individual that you're having interactions with. It's not that you're married or not married, you know what I mean? It's because there's no feeling there at all. None.
Mm,
And you create something out of the lust of the
yeah.
situation. You know what I mean? And that is what I've always prayed for my son to be better than me. And he still, to this day, has not had any children. I thank God. But he says he's going to live his life, and he's got a girlfriend that he's been with faithfully right now for some years. And I'm grateful and thankful for this man. You know what I mean? Like, he's
Hmm.
showing me a better me. He can talk about his feelings. Like I said, sometimes he has his mother in him. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Which I don't know where that line comes from. But yeah, I just never, when, like I said, I comprehended that I liked, and like everything else though, like the divine feminine is for women. And I understand the divine feminine being for women, just like the divine masculinity being in men, and then the hermaphrodites having both divines is even more to have to deal with. Like, I wouldn't want to have to deal with that. You know what I mean?
Um, yeah, but I think the thing is that I want to distinguish is, for me, your femininity, your masculinity isn't tied to your gender. It's tied to your spirit. Because, like, we're all spiritual beings having a human body experience. But I don't believe that your spiritual person, no, your physical flesh notates who you are, who your essence is, and who your spirituality is. And so I think that femininity and masculinity is a spectrum, and we all
I
fall
mean,
on it somewhere.
spirituality itself is way bigger than what any vessel is able to comprehend, I think.
So I don't think that, like, for instance, I like to use Prince a lot, because Prince is someone who, everyone knew was, straight, that he was hetero,
Yeah,
but
love
he was
women.
very feminine.
Everybody knows that.
He was very feminine presenting. He loved his high heels. He loved his silk shirts. He loved,
Wait a minute.
even when he
So
moved, it was
you didn't know that the high heel boots were for him to look taller?
yeah, but even still, they're short niggas today, and you would never catch them in no high heel boots. I don't
No,
give
no,
a
no, no,
hell
no.
how much they feel about them being short. They not putting on
I know
heels.
I
Heels are
know
for
short
women.
people that wear nothing but thick sole shoes because it makes them look taller. Like every
Yes,
form of shoe
that
that
right
they
there, or
buy.
will or wear put socks in
Which
their
is the
shoes.
same
I done,
thing which is the same
I done
thing that
seen that.
Prince, like I said,
But
I
no, Prince
understand that.
actually wears heels.
Prince,
There
right.
is very
Prince
different
did it
because he could have just
because
wore the
it made
same
him
thing.
look taller, like a centric stiletto, that gives you 6 inches right there, like
Yeah, but it
and
also
at the
makes your
same
booty sit
time,
up in a certain kind of way. And Prince was very much so about his booty looking good.
I don't know.
This man
I've never heard a discussion about Prince talking about his rear end like that.
it's not about how he talks about it, it's about how he captures himself. Like,
I'm
realize that Prince is a creative, so he
but
is
see,
behind the
at the same
videos, he
time,
is behind the images that are put out of himself, and he knows the areas of himself that are sexy and how to make them look. So in videos there are
at the
portions
same
that
time though,
zoom in on
I
his
think
booty.
I think women love to pretend that they know men. There's a problem within that too because guys do the same thing. Like, oh yeah, I know women, and that's once again those are two very large misconceptions when it comes to guys. Guys are dumb. That's our foundation. Prince could have been doing that for something dumb. Do you understand?
I mean, but
Not
he
even,
also could have been
but
doing it because he is
not,
very in touch with his feminine and his sexual and sensual side. Everything about Prince is very much screams the feminine.
and
Feminine energy is
that's why I say
sexy and
it's
feminine,
reading
and
more
that's what
into it as
he
guy though. Like, that's because even I know a lot of pretty boys. You know what I mean? And that's not why they do what they do. Like their end game is they do what they do is to get the yah. That's it.
right. But that's what Prince.
It's
But that's
no, 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 no,
still
no, no,
femininity.
no,
That's
no, no,
all
no.
femininity.
No, that's not femininity. That's to get the yah. Not just
The
any yah. They
ability to be
want, they
coercive or
want,
to be persuasive or to
they
be
want to get
lustrous, all of those are feminine
specific.
attributes.
How is that a feminine attribute? I would love to know.
Because the feminine energy is one of soft power,
Oh
whereas
no, these are
masculine
niggas that will
energy
fight.
is one of physical power. So when men want respect to other men, they show physical strength, they show physical prowess. Men use physicality to get things done, the way white men use force to conquer the world. That was a very masculine act. But femininity is soft power, it's coercion, it's seduction, it's the ability to get people to do what you want them to do without having to be forceful, without having to be aggressive with them. Those are the difference. This is why, this is the goddess of Oshun. There's a story of her and Shango. Shango is the Thor deity. That's really where they got Thor from. It was from Shango. Shango was a great warrior, and he had a axe that he would summon electricity with. Well, one day Shango, for whatever reason, he got mad. He threw out his axe and he went into the forest. He was lost, and he didn't want to fight anymore. The whole realms were descending into chaos. The gods kept trying to coerce him back out to his throne, and he would not come out. He refused. So one day, Ushun, she went into the forest after him, but she didn't go up to him. She just went and started bathing herself in the river. And when Shango came upon her, he was so strucken by her beauty that he walked up to her to find out who she was. And it was at that moment that they say in the story, she took some of her honey pot and dipped it on his lips. Make honey pot whatever you want it to be. And at that moment, he was with her forever bound. And she pulled him up out of the forest and brought him back to his throne and gave him the oomph that he needed to take over and continue to lead the kingdom. So feminine energy is soft power. It's the way to persuade people or to get what you want from people without having to do any physical
Yeah,
or
no, see, that's
aggression.
once again, you're giving too much to guys in general. That's not, like I said, we're not thinking. And that is one of the things that females need to comprehend from jump. So their main goal is just to get some pussy. Not
Right, but they're just
caring.
using
No, not no no no
feminine
no no
attributes
no.
to do
You
it.
have to be emotional to even recognize those things. They're not recognizing any emotional anything. You understand? They're not caring about feelings. You know what I mean? It is all
This doesn't have to do
narcissistic.
with feelings. This is just the laws of attraction. This
Right.
is
This is all
different things that
narcissistic.
you can use
This is
to
all
attract
based
people.
off this is all based off selfish flesh curiosity. That's it. Selfish fleshful curiosity. That is man. We are physical creatures that need to be informed of our emotions. As I told you, I recently comprehended what jealousy was. The majority of guys never comprehend jealousy because it's never broken down to the nth degree. And the ones that do are the ones that are trying to understand emotion. They're trying to be better for the opposite. But to put the majority on the minority basis, it's just like with the police. It's not possible. The majority are not looking at it the way you're looking at it. And that's what's hurting women is having that imaginary and believing once again, like, oh yeah, I can save him. That's part of that syndrome. I can save him. No, that guy is not interested in being saved. That guy is just interested in seeing what you got for one night. That's it.
I mean, I think you're confused by what I'm trying to say by that. I'm not saying that them using feminine tactics to get what they want makes them good or not good. These are just attributes that everybody uses to, it's just the laws of attraction. Prince used feminine tactics to attract fans. That's it. Whereas some other people were using more masculine things, showing off their muscles, showing off their strength, showing their dominance. This is all
And
just
that's
different things that
that's
people use to get what they want from people. It's not good or bad or right or wrong. It
yeah, I'm
just
not
means
saying
that
that.
you
I'm just saying
fall
in
on the
general.
but that means
Yeah.
that you do fall on the spin of the spectrum depending on the attributes that you align with. So if you align with using feminine tactics to get women, that means that you are more on the feminine spectrum. It don't mean that you're fronting because you have to be comfortable and confident to do that. Prince never changed. He was always Prince from the day he came out to the day he died. He was always that way. He wasn't fronting. That was who he was. That's a man who I would put closer on the feminine side that I wouldn't put him next to The Rock and say that they're both representing the same kind of masculine energy. No, they're not.
So, okay, here's my question. So you're or not even that it's a question. Or should I say yes, it is a question. Do you think The Rock is a handsome man?
Yeah, I think The Rock is fine. I always have since I was a little girl, and he was doing the people's eyebrows on you folks.
Wow. Yeah, see, no.
Ah, can you
Yeah.
smell it? What The
Yeah,
Rock
no.
is cooking.
Yeah,
Yo, I
no.
was a big WWF
Oh
fan.
no,
I'm not gonna lie.
I'm a fan now, yeah, of him as a wrestler. Like he was him,
And I think he's
Stone
aged
Cold,
gracefully.
Stone Cold Steve
And Stone Cold
Austin.
Steve Austin. Hell yeah, he still
Um
looks good too. And he old as shit.
um from like honestly from like Jake the Snake time to everything. Like I grew up believing Hulk Hogan was the man. You know what I mean?
Oh, I missed that era. That was
Yeah,
before
see
my
that was
time.
that yeah, that I believe like Hulk Hogan was the one man that brought every American to believing in one single single goal. Like in general, if you watch wrestling, when Hulk Hogan fought a bad guy, it wasn't, oh, he was fighting a black man. He was fighting a bad guy. That's it. When he was fighting any other race, it wasn't that he was fighting any other race because of the racial anything. It was that was the bad guy. And it was very decisive for you to figure out because Hulk was doing the prayers, taking the vitamins, and working out. You know what I mean? Showing the fans love because that's what it's about, brother. And you know what I mean? And it was a great time. Like it didn't matter when you would go over to people's houses and nobody cared what color they were. You know what I mean? Nobody cared anything because it was wrestling. You know what I mean? There was no
Hmm.
that, and that is amazing to me that we can't do that as people anymore.
Yeah, I never did. I don't know where. I don't know where if we was watching. I always drew the line between how come all the bad people are always black or dark skinned? Like how come they always look like people in my neighborhood in my community? How come the bad guy ain't never a white guy? Like I noticed that at an early age. I tell
But there were white guys that he was
somebody,
beating too, though. Like Hulk Hogan came up beating a lot more white guys than black guys.
I'm sure because they didn't really, want to give us no shine anyway. And then when they did put us on it, we had to lose. So
Oh
I'm
nah,
not
Rocky
surprised.
Maivia was the champ. Like The Rock's dad was the champ.
Yes, he was. Hey,
Yeah, like there
hey,
were
the
several
one
black
token.
champions. There wasn't no there wasn't no, oh, these folks when
But it's
when
also the
when it comes
narrative
to
in
us, we
storytelling.
actually had to do more. That's all it was. They just made us do more than what all the other ones that had just was given the opportunity. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
yeah, not only were you a lion tamer, but you could put your head in the lion's mouth and ride the lion in and out of the ring, and then you could make the lion walk the walk the ring and do what you say. You know what I mean? They just made things so difficult for us, which that's what we're known for. We're known for, okay, you made it harder. Okay, I'm going
We're
to do
overcoming.
it. Yeah,
How
and
do you
that's
feel
what
about Simone Biles and Naomi Osaka deciding that they're not going to compete this year in the Olympics and tennis championships?
women's power is underestimated, and I believe women are taking control of their situations. They state, my mental health for a woman, that is a lot, and men don't like,
Hmm.
because see, it's easy for men to run away. This is why I can't stand some of the gay dudes that be talking to me, or just dudes in general. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Being a man is so fucking hard for them to be. Like, you know what I mean? It's easier for them to fucking run from speaking because then they have to figure the shit out, right?
Right.
They have to acknowledge certain things of their own past, which then are now prevalent with their future. So it's hard to date right now when it comes to
I feel
guys.
you.
And
I feel you. Is it just guys or is it like black men in particular? Because I never, I think you
I
mentioned you never dated interracially. Are you attracted to white guys?
no, there is. I've not looked at a white guy and was like, "Yeah, yeah, um, white men are impressive when they do ally shit. Like Bernie Sanders is for women that see Bernie Sanders as sexually attractive. I see why they see him sexually attractive because he's an honest white man, regardless of him
Mm.
being Jewish or not, whatever, whatever. But he's honest.
He's straight to the point, that's for sure. I was
Right.
just wondering that because I had an epiphany over the weekend myself. Because for the most part, I prefer to be with black men. Like, that is my preference. And it's most of my relationships. I've
I
mostly only
love
been in
niggas.
relationships with
I
black
love
men.
niggas.
But as I'm
I
starting
do.
to embark in this journey of possibly dating out, and I'm weighing like why not, what, how do I feel about this really? And I realized that, the truth of the matter is, for black women, since we're at the very bottom of the totem, there's no safe place for me to go. Like, even when I'm dating black men, I always bump up against misogyny and misogynoir. And there is a lot of deep seated hatred of black women that black men don't even want to acknowledge. Like, don't want to acknowledge that it's there. Keep telling us that, oh, it's not that big of a deal.
Because
It's not
we
that
have so
bad.
much to overcome. Black men have
And
so much to overcome. Like, this is why I
I mean,
say,
I do too. It's a long way from the very bottom. And I don't, it's like if I'm with, I looked at it and it's like 80% of women, black women killed, will be killed by a black man they're in a relationship with. And it's not
correct.
because these men are black, it is
It's
because they are
because they're
men.
weak.
And it's weak men in every race, in every single race. Women are being
No,
murdered
no,
by
no,
men.
no.
So
Right.
it's like
And
there's like
and and
no
where
safer
where
option for me to be.
women are cheerleading the weak though, and you're wondering why. Females are cheerleading the weak, and you wonder why this is happening. You guys
Women,
aren't choosing men who will even fight for you. You go, if he will fight another man, then he'll fight me. And that's not the
right?
type of thinking that you need to have. You need to have the thinking, I need a man that will not talk crazy to me because one, they'll keep themselves composed around you, or not even that they're composed around you. Their conversation is always about their love of you, for you, and respect of you and for you.
Yeah, but again, that comes back at home. I know, like me, women in my generation, I went to, read all kinds of books, had dating coaches so I could learn these things. But these
Right.
are things that girls learn from their father. The way you talk to your daughter every day, if you're telling her, you're so beautiful, honey, you're so pretty, sweetie, you're taking her on dates, that is what she will expect from the men she is dating. But if you are not there, or you be yelling at her, going off on her, even though she's a child. Because I just had to check a dude at the Black Arts Festival about that. The way he got up in his 9-year-old daughter face, put his chest all up in her face, get your ass in the car right now, cussing and shit. And I'm like, hey, yo, you don't even be talking to your 9-year-old daughter that way. First of all, you ain't supposed to be talking to no woman like that in public. Got this little girl in tears. Like, you cannot use masculine ways of communicating with women and then expect the women to be feminine. Like, you
And
cannot do
that's the
that.
thing. Once again, this is our whole topic of our conversation. If women are not teaching black men at young ages to give a fuck, one, that's the first and foremost. To give a fuck. Why do you give a fuck? You know what I mean? That needs to be a
Mhm.
sole purpose. Why do you give a fuck? Why do you give a fuck about yourself? And why do you give a fuck about your family first? Why do you give a fuck about yourself? And why you give a fuck about your family first? Those things aren't even possible for the simple fact of people not grasping that one thing. You want to be something. You want to be something. Everybody wants to be something. When I hear people say they don't have a dream or a goal, especially guys, I'm like, so what makes you alive?
Mm.
You're honestly like a bag of hot air. That's what they mean. You just waste oxygen
You just floating around,
Yes,
not doing nothing. You just kind of
lost.
floating.
And
If you
that
don't have
comes from not
intention.
having a man around when it comes to a majority of
Yes,
males. And
that's another thing. Yeah, this is
mm,
where both people are important, and the community. Honestly, the community, everybody, because I can tell my child all day that they are important, that they're valuable, that they're that. But if their dad isn't there to validate them, also, they'll always feel incomplete. And
all
we can both, as the dad and the mom, be telling our children how great they are, how important, how valuable they are. But if they go out into the world and the community treats them like they're nothing, they will still feel like they're nothing. So we all have to make sure we're treating each other like we are valuable to each other, like we matter to each other, because that's the only
and
way this
that
shit is gonna
is the
change.
point of my show, or should I say my Saturday show, should I say, in general. On Saturdays, I do the show Black Conscious Convo, where I have a conversation starting with uh talking about local dispensary weed that we've been partaking in.
Hmm.
And we roll up, and our conversation runs from entertainment, new technology, sports, and video games. Now, um, the whole point of Black Conscious Convo is to get the conversation started in the areas where we are not recognized, one, and then that it is our conversation. It is not, I'm not saying that white people are irrelevant in my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
I respect them as allies right now, because this has been what's been going on in the black community has been going on for too long, and we need to fix what's going on in our community before we go out into other people's community and say, hey,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I agree.
So the show's main purpose is for niggas. We are
Yeah.
$1.2 trillion worth of value in this country. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? We don't even think about that number right there. $1.2 trillion of America's money comes from people of color. Period. That's black people right there. Not to say that brown, Hispanic, Asian, Native American is not included in there. But I'm saying us. We have the ability to support us, believe in us, and help us to become better. So let's do that. And it starts with somebody taking the initiative. Like I said, my new hashtag is going to be the hood's most honest black gay man. And the reason why I say this is because, one, I wasn't turned out, I wasn't molested, I wasn't, you know what I mean, put in any type of provocative situations growing up to be that person. I went to college, you know what I mean, and I experienced black people, which
Mm.
made my love for black people even bigger. And then I seen that, oh, there's gay black people in Atlanta. Like, oh, that's I didn't
Yeah.
notice. You know what I mean? Like, this is something in Denver, growing up in Denver, it wasn't something that I noticed. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like, like I said, the three feminine acting gay dudes that we all knew were gay would also fight. Like, nigga, ain't nobody trying to fight no gay black dude. Period.
True
You know what I
that.
mean? Ain't
Just
nobody
sit
got no
down there.
problem. If you got a problem with them, you know what I mean? It's because you like one of them. That's what we knew. You know what I mean? Like, we grew
Mm-hmm.
up and our aunts and uncles used to tell us about people that they grew up with, like Peaches and individuals like that. And those are old gay names from here. You know what I mean? From black neighborhoods, not from Aurora and further out. We're talking people growing up from the east side to the to Park Hill and Montbello and knowing about a funeral home, you know what I mean, in Denver with gay people. We know, you know what I mean? Like there are just things that we have an understanding of that people don't think that we know. You know what I mean?
Right.
Trauma causes trauma. Grandmama knew these things. Grandpa knew these things. Grandpa told my mama, if you would just tell that boy who his daddy is, you could get that boy to act right. Although my mom was afraid that my ass was going to run away. You know what I mean? And at the
Mm,
same time, there was probably other things that scared her.
right.
And you never know what as you said, a woman's fear can be bigger
Runs deep.
than right and can be bigger than just telling the truth. It could be
I,
bigger than just simply telling the truth, and telling the truth could hurt so much.
that's true.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
I wanted to say that I think maybe you should listen to some of my other YouTuber Adrian Expressions, his podcast or his little show, because he says the same thing you do as far as like he never experienced no childhood trauma. Like he wasn't ever really exposed to, he actually grew up extremely religious, and he's from Florida too, so that's probably a reason why I watch him, because he's from Florida, so I identify with that.
Yeah, no,
But he grew up in the
I
church
didn't grow
all the
up
time, and
I
so
ain't grow up
he
extremely religious. Like niggas
well,
was I
yeah,
was
but the
hood
point
nigga.
of the matter that I'm making with that is the
Go ahead.
fact that he was insulated in a bubble of no gay shit. Like he never watched TV. He didn't wasn't allowed to go out. He was homeschooled. So like he didn't actually, know anything about any of that shit. And he said the first time, and he's very effeminate acting, but he said the first time he really like was like, oh man, like I think I like girl shit is when he was 18 and was away on a senior field trip or some shit, and they watched the Pink Panther, and at the end the Beyonce video came on, and he said, and my 18-year-old gay ass is sitting in that theater like, I love this. I love her. I love this outfit. I've never seen this before. Who is this? Who is she?
Yeah,
And
no,
that was
that
it. The
wasn't my
rest was
issue.
history.
Yeah, no,
So,
that's really small. Like that's like some small town type shit. Like no, I ain't grow up like that. I'm saying in general, I grew up in the city, knowing certain shit. You know what I mean? Like just in general. Like I don't know how parents knew, but there was like I said, there was a certain funeral home that had individuals that they knew was molesting individuals, and some of those individuals gr- turned feminine acting. You know what I mean? And they knew these things. You know what I mean? The black community knew these things specifically. And so when you're taught about these things being raised up, you start to like my math in my head just starts to go, so why didn't y'all do something? Just like I said, my son's mother was her and her sister were sexually molested by their grandfather, and their mothers knew. And now those two individuals believe that they are the most masculine individuals I have ever seen.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I
Because
mean?
rape and sexual assault will do that to you. Absolutely.
And and that's what I'm saying. No, I'm not saying that individuals have to go through that to become gay individual. I'm saying in general, if you can tell me that your story is just you're interested, like I have met so many guys that will go all the way to the point of, you know what I mean, we in the same bed with each other watching movies, sleeping, not even that we're hugging or anything like that, but we're in the bed with each other, you understand,
Hmm.
and we could be all of those extra things at the same time because of acknowledgement and fear of what could happen, I
Mm.
believe a lot stops because of, like I said, a lot of people know anal sex is not the thing. And people go, well, somebody asked me to do it. This is what guys say. A lot of the times they go, oh, yeah, this girl asked me to do it. This girl asked me to do it. And then you have every once in a while, sometimes that thing slips, which that there are guys that have crossed that line before and don't want to admit it.
Mm.
But hood niggas are a different species in general. Like we all know hood niggas is not, when shit gets talked about, it gets talked about. And then like I said, my background coming from healthcare, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I have an understanding of Grady Hospital. I have an understanding of, you know what I mean? I have an understanding of Denver Health. I have an understanding of Los Angeles Health County. You know what I mean? I have an understanding. That's what I have an understanding of, and people don't grasp that. When people come into emergency room, they confess like they are about to die.
Mm-hmm. Because they've been doing all this stuff that they think could kill them.
Right. So imagine going through this with hood niggas repeatedly throughout the night. You understand? 12 hours, 300 patients. On a good night, 300 patients. That's where the ER is not busy at all. On a busy night, we're talking about running through some patients. Do you understand? Like for ER to run through 500 patients is not a problem because that's how many people they can triage and treat like that if people are honest about what's going on. Get them in, get them out, or get them in a room. Period. Get them in, get them out, get them in a room. Get them in, get them out, or get them in a room.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you add all of those things, and like I said, I'm always in the hood. Like I said, I've seen things in Atlanta that I didn't even know was real. Hood niggas that will mess around for money. Do you understand? That was the first city I've ever heard of male gay prostitutes.
Yeah. I've seen that. I mean, there's
I
rumors of OGs getting out of jail and, turning
Right,
out
I
all the
know
young
about.
dudes.
That's what I'm saying, and that's the thing right
And they
there.
don't be
Hear how you said
realizing
that?
that when they be killing people out there, they be thinking, oh, it was a gang violence. Nah, they took a
No,
predator off the
that
street.
that nigga, yes, a lot of them
But they don't do
niggas.
that when they be out there raping girls. But we'll call that, we'll talk
But
about, black men's misogynoir.
that's the thing is because nobody wants to admit, like you said, nobody wants to admit what women do to men at young ages, right? If we're lying, I know so many guys who have said that their babysitter de-virginized them. What are babysitters doing having sex with their? That doesn't make no sense. And for any
Mm-hmm.
babysitter to find that comprehensible in any way, shape, form, or fashion, there's a psychological issue. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember we said we needed to start talking about these things. As a guy, like I said, I don't know about that type of trauma. And everyone that comes at me with this trauma based relationship type stuff when it comes to being gay, I just can't do it. I don't have what you have. You have trauma. I have a deeper love and understanding to where I'm not just trying to lay with a motherfucker, and I'm definitely not having ass sex. I'm not. There's no point in it. You can tell me, but pleasure. You know what? Just because your friends jump off a bridge, don't mean everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. The same goes. I think there's people like that, and everyone, do what is their comfort level and what is intimacy for them, and we all have different definitions of that. So it's just a matter of finding someone who is aligned with what you see as intimate.
And I'm not saying anything wrong about that. I That is absolutely understandable because being able to intimately understand someone is important. And that's the thing, is that I don't like, I know I talk too much for guys in general, especially niggas. So if I'm around a guy and I just don't talk, that's how you know I'm interested in the guy. Like, not, you know what I mean? Like, I know I talk too much.
Hmm.
And guys, like I said, ladies don't understand this, especially hood niggas. They be like, it's more of hood niggas need call and response type shit. Ask you a question, you answer the question with deep thought. And it's okay, you know what I mean? But if it goes longer than a simple deep thought, you lose. Nigga, you talk too much. Shut up.
I can't even. I have to date like men who are well read.
Look,
Because I
I
talk a
don't.
lot. Or maybe I need a strong silent type and they could just
No,
let me talk. I don't know.
no. It's there are. This is why I say ladies need to get a man who has been, as we said earlier, raised and loved by both
Or,
individuals openly and honestly.
or have at least done the work, to
Once again,
be working
or
on your
went and
trauma.
got the get the trauma work. Like, that's the thing, is like, no, like, I don't know if ladies are afraid to ask guys if they've had therapy. But ladies, I believe you should always ask guys if they've had therapy, because I'm not fucking around no more. Like,
I
I
think they should too. I know I do, and I will tell a guy he need it. In fact, my ex boyfriend, I told him if he want me back, he can call me after he's had 2 or 3 sessions with his therapist.
I've told people that they need therapy, and they be like, I don't know what you're talking about, and they be like, I be like, yeah, you do, but it's
You got
okay.
some where it's
You're going to keep on repeating the same thing
same
over and
thing, yeah,
over,
yeah. Until you're able to get past
expecting a
that.
different outcome until.
If for and for my ex, his thing was like, I was like, you have a deep seated hatred of women and fear of women that you
And
need
that's
to
something
work
from their
out.
mothers.
And I said that same thing to him. I'm like, you need to work on your relationship with your mom. For him, he was raised by his mom, and all this, but his father was just feeding him just negative shit about women, telling him women are just holes in the ground that need to be filled, and you know,
Yeah,
a
like I
woman ain't
said,
nothing. But it's like, I was
and
like, you
that's
sitting here
the thing.
listening to
That's what I'm
all of
saying.
this negative shit
Do
from
you hear how
your
dumb that
dad,
sounds? I mean,
and
stupid that
he's just
sounds.
bitter. He just angry that the marriage didn't work out and all of that.
See,
Now he's telling you this negative shit about women, and
and
you
that's what I'm
growing up and
saying.
you
See,
taking
there's
it
your
out on
example.
me.
And
You taking
that's
it
your
out on me.
example. Do you hear how stupid he was talking? That's the extreme of man, and that is what man listens to, because they think that is the form of a powerful man. To be able
Yeah,
to acknowledge that information as a powerful man.
to be able to distance yourself or not show emotion for women is what it feels like to me.
Right.
Because that was always my problem with him in our relationship. I'm like, you. being masculine, you being tough guy around me. Like, what you being tough and standoffish for in our own house? Like,
And
where
that's
is this coming
because,
from? Like,
and
nah, you
that's
ain't gonna have me. I'm not gonna be following behind a woman. We supposed to move. I moved to Hawaii. He's supposed to move with me. I move out there first, get our place. He's supposed to follow. He don't come. I get back to Colorado. I asked him what happened. Oh, I wasn't about to be following after no woman. What? I was like, who?
look.
For who? For
I know
who?
somebody
Who's
that went to
watching
Hawaii
you?
and now they're in prison.
Damn, what they do?
He murdered. They supposedly murdered a lady out there.
Oh, mm, damn.
Which once again, I he was someone that I believed, because we used to talk deep. Um, I believed he had a lot of deep rooted, because he was a young man, a high school father. He had a kid at 16. Him and his girlfriend, um, him and his girlfriend were together through high school. Then got married right after high school. Then his wife cheated on him with a girl, and I think
Mm.
that's where his trauma started.
Or anger that he just
Yeah,
never got in check with.
yeah, with ladies, because at that point he turned into a different individual, but yet he always said to me, I don't know why I'm telling you all of this, but however, I seem to be able to tell you everything. And that's the shit that just fucked my whole head off. And nobody knows that it's fucking my head off. And
Mm.
at the same time, though, he's a Virgo, and like I don't know what it is about Sagittarius and Virgos. Like I don't know. Like that is like they're powerful individuals
Mm.
to me. Not all Virgos, but there are some Virgos that recognize themselves and know their capabilities, and they're just
I
powerful.
don't know any too many Virgos, so I
I hear
don't have
people go, Virgos
the
are mean,
experience of it.
or
Oh
Virgos are
yeah.
whores.
They say that because I know famous Virgos. Like I know Joe Budden from the Joe Budden podcast. He is a Virgo, and he is. People do say he's mean, and that he's a
But
hoe. So maybe
Beyonce is a Virgo and Jay Z's a
people say she
Sagittarius.
mean too. People be saying Beyonce is mean. You heard what she did to the former Beyonce member.
I don't. I just think
Who
that
was it,
when Virgos,
Latoya or Latavia?
I
I think it
think
was
when Virgos cut
Latavia.
somebody off, they just cut somebody off. You know what I mean? Like they just don't play no games.
Beyonce's just a boss, and she about her shit. She don't mind calling you out, even if it hurt your feelings or
And
you
there
think
you
it's
go, right
rude.
there.
And
Like
that's what it is, because that's what she was doing to Latavia. Her notes would be all off. She was singing off key, and Beyonce is a vocal perfectionist. So you can see clips of Beyonce listening to Latavia on stage, like, bitch, is you off key over there? You
right?
say no,
Like
no,
excuse
no,
me.
no, no. Like get it together. Like are you no, 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 no. You can see her looking at her like, bitch, if you get this no off one more time. So
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
You are
4, 3,
hilarious.
2,
All right.
1.
So you know what that means. We are actually 20 minutes over our time.
don't y'all aren't y'all so lucky y'all get us an extra 20 minutes of time, talk
You know what I
time.
mean? Like we are you I tell people all the time, you are so magical. You are you are like a
If I
breath
was on
of fresh
camera, you
air.
guys would see me majestically moving my hands. But
You are like a breath of fresh air. Um A majority of how this podcast came together and the extension of where this podcast came from, it is it's a lot because of I needed to grow more emotionally when it came to being who I am. And your interview on my show, Black Conscious Convo, on Saturdays at 1 o'clock, you you motivated me to ask you to do this show. And I am grateful, thankful, and humbled every time because one, I learn. And that's one of the things that's really important to me is learning and being able to put action behind the learning. That's the whole point in even though it is pimp game, it is conversation rule the nation. Action speaks louder than words. That is why that is my quote. I I live by quotables. When I was the dope man, I sold dope by the 10 crack commandments. You know what I mean? I was a gang member by every standard of gang living from the Bay all the way down to California. Like I lived and breathed what I believed gang members were supposed to be. I was loyal to my O's and like I said, that was it. I my I'm just so grateful and thankful for you. Do you have anything extra to say for our closing out, young lady?
Yeah, I want to let you guys know next week's episode, we're going to be switching the conversation since we just finished up our 2-part series on moms. So we're going to switch the color to green and we're going to talk about love and the love of money and how it
Ooh,
affects our community and how it affects our families and everything like that, y'all.
we are going to have fun with that one because I know how people love to say money is the root to all evil, and the question isn't is money the root to all evil. It's are we putting hands? Are we putting money in the hands of those financially educated enough to use it?
Right, right,
That's really the
absolutely.
honest point.
Hmm. And
So
who have the
at that,
heart and decency, you know?
and once again, at that, who those are two powerful things that we need to be conversating about, and that's why we're conversating about the things that the hood is not grasping. Yes, the hood is hard to find now in Colorado because we've had a lot of gentrification going on. At the same time, in Aurora, the hood is still in the same places. And in Montbello and Green Valley Ranch, the hood is still in the same places. We do have some spots on the east side and in Park Hill that have not been completely gentrified. At the same time, everyone, conversation rules the nation. Action speaks louder than words. Until next week, have a great week, y'all. Or until Sunday, have a great rest of your week, y'all.
See ya.
Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream or drift away, what you thinking about? All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the cloud. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain of life. Just listen to my story. You lost your best friend, shit's got you stressing. Wanna find a fool who did it Don't wanna look to the church for confessions. If you kill them, you can end up in correction. Some look for the needles and drugs for injection. When I lost Caesar, I was ready for the action. This shit hurts hard, and it really did. But you gotta let the pain go, and that's how you live. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away, what you thinking about? All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the cloud. Feel the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain of life. Just listen to my stories. Falling in love may be easy to some of y'all, but some people in this world have downfalls. Been in love so many times, their heart got lockjaw. Mention the word love, pause, then the tears start to crawl down their face fast like Niagara Falls. Feeling you had them messed up like prank calls. Why it gotta be so damn hard trying to find the right one? Set your standards high and get this like an M. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away, what you thinking about? All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the cloud. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain of life. Just listen to my story. Phone bill is due, rent and cars too. By the end of the month and you got no food. Mom at home first and dad can't go to work. That's only if you had a dad, imagine that hurt. 4 kids in one house, one mom and no spouse. Not enough room and family sleep on the couch. You don't know why and you looking for an answer. Just found out grandpa got cancer. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away, what you thinking about? All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the cloud. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pains of life. Just listen to my stories. Just listen to my stories. Just listen to my story. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away, what you thinking about? All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the cloud. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain in life. Just listen to my stories. Just listen to my story.